Hello guys, my name is Michael and welcome to a new GTK tutorial. In this tutorial we are going to move on with our signals and we are going to learn 3 new functions. And before we move, let us take a short break from the last video. In the last video we saw how we can block a handler by passing its signal ID, and then we saw how we can unblock it, which means blocking it means basically that you don't block the function which you are calling, you are blocking only the handler, which means now again when I hit the X here, you see have a nice day, it is called because we did nothing. And then if you click the button like I did here, says the delete event was blocked, and now when you hit X the program still terminates because the function gets called and it is not blocked. But if you want to block the function, then there is another function which is called GTK where is this, block by func, right here. You see it says block all handlers on the instance that match func and data, and of course the GTK handle says unblock by func, it unblock all handlers on an instance that match func by data. So basically the main difference between this one and this one, it is, you will see in a second. Let me call it. So I'm going to close this one, to comment it. We need the unblock as well, so I'm going to comment this one as well. And now instead of working with IDs, we are working with a function. So G callback, and the function which we are going to pass it here, it will be the delete event function, callback function. So I'm going to put it here, and the next parameter will be the data, and we were going to work with null. The same thing goes from unblock. I'm going to copy here and I'm going to pass it here. Now let us go a little bit back. It says the block by func says the instance to the block the handler from, in our case the window. Func is the C closure callback of the handler, useless for non-C clauses, you see, they're very important. And the data, the closure data of the handler's closures. We are not passing any data. The same story goes for unblock by the func. And now watch the difference. So like I said in the first video, if you press the button and then you click the X, and you click at the X, at that point you basically close the program because you deactivate the signal. But now we are blocking the function which is working with that signal. In other words, let's see if I close the program right now. It says have a nice day, goodbye, which means both are called, it's true. And now when I watch what happens when you press the button, says the delete event was blocked, and with let me move it a little bit here. And before we had GTK handle block, which means once that you click it here, the program got closed. Now watch what happens. You cannot close it anymore. You see? It's not working anymore. For this to make it work, you need to click the button again, and says delete event works fine, which means the GTK handle unblocked by func will call the delete event again, which means it will block it, unblock it, and now if you hit the X button, says have a nice day and goodbye. So basically this is the main difference and the main reason why you should use it. And of course there's a lot of as well, but at least you know and you understand the difference, because this is a very important. Anyway, there is one more thing which you need to take care of. If you are working with pedantic flags, you cannot compile this code because GTK handles unblocked by func doesn't accept this kind of conversation for function pointers to pointers and so on. This is another story, and maybe I will make another video about how to fix that, but it is not the case. Anyway, this is important here that you understand the way how the GTK handles blocked by func and GTK handles unblocked by func works. Now let me mark them as done, because you do understand now what exactly does both of them. The next thing which I'm going to introduce you before we move on. The next function, better said, it is called GTK handle, where is it, right here, disconnect. Now as you saw, we can block some signals, we can block some functions by functions, some signals and so on, but you can also, once that you are connecting some signals, you can also disconnect them. So how it is working, it says disconnects the handler from an instance, so it will not be called during any future or currently outgoing emission of the signal it has been connected to. So the handler ID becomes invalid and may be reused. The handler ID has to be valid signal, handler ID connected to a signal of instance. So the instance to remove to is the instance, and the handler ID is the signal ID which you get it once that you call the gsignal connect and you save it into variable. Now let's see what happens if you call this function. I'm going to comment these two calls right here because I want to show you something. Now let's see, once that program runs, if you click the button, then the flag is being true, it will be called these functions. This function basically, once that it is called, it should deactivate, or better say disconnect the signal ID. So I'm going to copy these things here and paste them here. So basically, once that this function get calls on this window, the signal ID will be disconnected. And once that we come here, nothing special happens, but you will see something different now. Let me show you something. I'm going to compile it and run it. Yes, I need a semicolon here. Okay, let me compile it and run it again. And now watch, you can close the program. It says have a nice day and goodbye, everything works fine because we didn't push the button, so nothing happened. Now watch what happens. I'm going to click the button. It says the delete event was blocked. I'm going to press X, which means says goodbye, because we basically not blocked the delete event, we disconnected, and the other function works fine. But watch what happens once that you click the button again. Now says the delete event, the delete event was blocked, and I'm going to hit the button again, and now says no signal ID with that ID 41 was found. And at this point, basically, I'm going to close the window now. Basically, because you disconnect this signal and doesn't exist anymore, it is the same like you never called basically this line right here. Then all the time you push the button after you press it one time here, you will draw from this if statement into that into the else statement where it says no. Why is that? Because if you remember, we did make all the time a check if the signal handle is connected, and that signal ID which we got it right here, it should always be there, but it is not anymore. Why? Because we disconnected, which means during the running of the application being not available anymore is out. That being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.